Merab and Sandhagen might be that next one. How are you looking at that by chance? Because if like on paper, it's like Sandhagen's lost some of these fights, but I don't know. Maybe it's one of those cases where styles make fights here.
I think every case of styles make fights, and I think Cory Sandhagen can make certain adjustments and has a style that can do very well against a Merab as well. He moves a lot, which makes getting taken down a lot harder. He's rangy just like Suge. He's different than Suge too. His movement's a little bit different than Suge. Suge has great movement as well, but there's certain adjustments that he can make. I definitely, I don't count any of these guys out. On any given night, Cory Sandhagen can be the world champion. I really believe that. He's got all the skills. Any given night, Umar can be champion. Any given night, Peter can be champion again. Any given night, any of these guys can go out there and put a stamp on it and get that belt. And I think that's what's great about the bantamweight division is that's how competitive it is. That's how competitive it is. Any of us could beat any of us on any given day. So be there for that day.
Definitely. And also styles make fights. I think that's a big one where even like with you and Peter on this one, like you said how some of the guys weren't ready, but even in the case of like you go out there, you finish your opponents, maybe even take a couple on short notice, get in good graces with the UFC, like good things can also happen with your career, because the UFC sees you as somebody they can mix up with some of the top dogs. Versus if you
100%.
just squeak by on some wins, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
like somebody who will too, I think they do appreciate that, like I'm not all these tasks that I've been put up to, I've joyfully stepped up to each one of them, not making it a hassle, being grateful inside of it. So I think that they appreciate that, as well, because
Definitely.
a lot of guys don't want to do that type of stuff. And I understand this is a business as well. You got to build your business. Fighting is only however long it is, but I'm a little bit older anyways, so like for me, I am building all those things anyways, and I look at it in a different perspective, like I'm learning and growing. I'm down to grow. I want to find out, and again, I'm not going to rush or take a seat back because of fear or like doubt, we're going to go forward. And if this is the plan and this is where I'm getting put at, this is what we're going to do.
Definitely. It's almost like the best of both worlds for you because I think the UFC recognizes your age and they're like, we're not gonna make this guy like fight a million times to like get to where he wants to be. So you almost get like, you know what I mean, a little bit of like a push. Like, Josh Emmett's career,
Yep.
he started off a little bit older, and so he was able it's like sink or swim, right? We don't gotta do this thing where it's like, can you hang or not? We're not gonna waste a couple years with you on that. So like you kind of got this opportunity where it's like sink or swim, and so far you've been swimming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah,
and
for
they're like,
sure.
hey, if he can swim, we're gonna put him in there with them boys. You know what
Keep
I'm saying?
testing
Go
him. Why
ahead and
not?
let him
Why give him a
swim.
back step?
Yeah,
Right?
100%. And I
Yeah.
think they know I'm up for that too. I'm not against any of that stuff too. Like even if they had went backwards, like everyone's like, oh, you got to get somebody ahead. I hear you, and that's great for my career. But again, what I'm saying, we're here to find out how great we can be, and I guess that to everybody else, that's the title. I hear you on that, but that's not the end all be all for people who are in this thing and dedicated to this thing. That's for show. That's for smoke and mirrors. That's for everybody else, and I don't want to be associated with that like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
I feel you.
I don't want that to be like my why. You know what I'm saying?
The title run, so to speak, right? Or like that defining your career. Because
Exactly.
big fights, you know what I mean? The fans love the good matchups. I use boxing as an example. Rolly Romero, he's had some tough losses, right? If you follow boxing at all, but
Yep.
he always fights the tough guys. Like he just took on Ryan Garcia and beat him. Everybody forgets about all that other shit. I think way down the road, people remember like, you know what I mean? All these other things as far as like these big matchups that kind of like fights that mean something to fans. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Well, all this undefeated stuff and all that craziness, and all those type of things, I think add to that. And it's like people are so uneducated about those type of things. So they're like, oh, that's the most important thing, being undefeated or not getting beat by anybody. And I don't think that's the most important thing, man. Like look at Merab. He was 0-2 when he started MMA as a pro, and now he's the champion of the whole world.
Lost his
So
first two UFC fights, I think, on top of that.
yeah, and lost his first two. Like it's like, come on, you guys. Like, come on, bro. Like, what are we talking about? Like you don't have to be great. You don't have my definition of greatness is not going to be determined by them. You know what I'm
Yeah, for
saying?
sure.
I'm not letting it happen. I refuse to let my greatness be stomped or my fire be put out because people get to have their opinions. Let them have their opinions as they sit in the bleachers, as they sit in the audience and they talk, and I go perform and do.